Now we will see. Now we will see the Power BI application by importing the SQL database data. Okay. So we're going to create one SQL server database. Okay, in the Azure. We're going to create some tables and insert some data into it. Now from the Power BI, we're going to connect. We're going to connect the data. We're going to connect the data with the SQL server and going to import the data from the Azure. Okay, so that is what this experiment is saying. Import a data set either from CSV file or a database connection into Power BI. Okay, we'll do it now. First of all, go to the Azure portal. Go to the Azure portal. Click on search bar. Search for the Azure SQL. Azure SQL. Select the first one, that is Azure SQL. I want to create a database in Azure SQL. Just click on the create SQL databases. First option is SQL databases. Click on the create button. It is going to ask you enter some details. Enter some details into it. For subscription details, that is Azure for students, and the resource group. We may select the already created resource group, that is KL student learn. Once I enter this, I should give a database name of your choice. Okay, I am giving this as KL test database. Let me check whether this name is available. Yes, this name is available. Accept it. Now select the server name. There are no servers installed, so create a new one. Enter the server name also. KL test SQL server. KL test SQL server. This was name already taken. KL test data server. Give any name of your choice, but that must be a unique one, right? So this was taken. Now select the location of Central India. Go to the Asia Pacific into the Central India, right? Authentication method is the second one, that is use both SQL and Microsoft Entra authentication. Now set the admin, set Microsoft Entra admin, search for the means you are going to assign an admin for this database, right? Search for the mail ID, your mail ID, search for your mail ID. So make you as a admin for your database. So select that mail ID in which you have logged into this portal. Okay, select this. Admin was selected. Now give some username and password. Username and password. Now this must be also you must remember, because you have to give these credentials somewhere in the database. Okay, so for that, whatever the credentials that you are giving here, you must remember. I am giving the username as username as KL admin. Okay, KL admin. Give some password, which is a strong password, by just following the standards of the Azure set by the Azure. Okay, one symbol, one number must be included. Okay, both are matched. Click on OK. Now, now when it comes to the configuration, leave it as it is. Leave it as it is. No need to disturb it. Now, when it comes to the backup storage, select the local one, because as we are using the free account, this is going to take a less amount. Okay, local redundant backup data. Click on create. Deployment is going to happen now. It may take a couple of minutes. It will take 2 to 3 minutes. We should wait for it. This is going to create a database for us, a SQL database. Now the database is created for us. Okay. Now go to the resource. Just click on go to the resource. Now click on configure. Click on configure. Select this option, that is selected networks. Okay. Means it is going to access, the database is going to access from the outside also. Now click on the add your client IPv4 address. The IP address was added. Click on save. Enable this, allow Azure services and resource to access the server. Click on save. Successfully updated. Now go to the resource again. Go to the resource. Click on the query editor here. Okay, click on the query editor. Either you can just click on the continue as your mail ID, otherwise you have to give the credentials. Okay, what we have given while creating the database. Okay, I'm going with the first one, that is Microsoft Entra authentication. Now it is going to open a query editor where I can enter the query and execute the commands, right? So for me, the database is created. The database name is KL test database, right? So I'm going to I'm going to create some few tables and insert some data into it. The sample data is already there here. There are 4 tables are there. I'm going to create, and with the insert command also already available, I'm going to execute all these 4 tables creation and insertion commands at a time. Okay, just copy it and paste in the query editor. Paste in the query editor and execute. Run. Query succeeded. Right now, go to the tables. You may see all the 4 tables that you have created. One is courses, enrollments, and the third one is teachers, and the final one is students. Right. The professors table will contain the courses. The professors table contains the courses they are dealing with, and the enrollment and the students table will contains the respective details. Right. So here, for example, if you want to select any data, just type here select star from students. It is going to provide the data of students. Okay, whatever the data that you have inserted, you can able to retrieve. Now, what I should do is, whatever the data that I have inserted here, this I want to import this data I want to import into the Power BI. Now, once you create the database in the Azure, open the Power BI application. In that, now select the SQL server. Now this time I'm going to import the data from the SQL server, not from the Excel. So click on SQL server. It is going to ask the server name. How to get the server name? So to get the server name, go to the database that you have created. Click on the overview. In this overview, you may see the server name here. Server name. Okay. Just copy this. Just copy this. Go to the Power BI and paste here the server name. Okay, and paste here the server name. Now click on OK. For example, sometimes what happens is the database not going to connect. This may give some errors. So in order to avoid that errors, what you should do is go to the overview of database. Okay, click on configure. Click on configure. Add a firewall. Add a firewall. So already have added a firewall here like that. So you have to click on firewall rule here. Click on the firewall rule. Give some name. Give some name. Rule name. Starting IP address. If you see here, this is the IP address which was generated. Sometimes this may give some error. So what we should do is First three numbers are same. The last one you should change as 0. Okay, 0. The same thing I'm going to copy from here, and the end IP address I'm going to paste here. Instead of 0, I will be enter here as 255. Means the IP address in between 0 to 255 it is going to accept, right? What are the IP address? So click on OK. Once we have added a firewall rule which accepts any IP address which was generated between 0 to 255. Now go to the Power BI, enter the server name, click on OK. Now this is going to connect. This is going to connect the database which you have created in the Azure. See, this is the database which we have created. So these are the four tables. These are the four tables. These are the four tables that we have created. So click on the load. This is going to connect to the database. The data will be loaded. It may take some time because it has to extract from the database. So once it get loaded, you may see all the tables list here. That is courses, enrollments, and the professors and students. Okay, all the four tables will be displayed here. So if you want to make any changes to these tables, okay, if you want to make any changes to these tables, you can click on the transform button. You can click on the transform and transform data. So whatever the table, if you want to make changes, modification, you can select here. Just by selecting here, you can make changes to it. For example, if I want to change some data here, okay. For example, I want to change the column name. Instead of GPA, I want to change this as CGPA. Okay. Right click here, rename it, and CGPA. Okay. This was now whatever the actions you do here that will be recorded here. Applied steps, renamed columns, right? So if I want to delete any column, that I may delete from here. There are so many columns are there. For example, if I want to delete enrollment year or otherwise enrollment year, if I want to delete this, I can simply right click and remove. The column is going to removed. Okay. So there are so many changes that we may do here. Okay, we can change the data types. We can change the data types of the columns, the list of the databases. Okay, we can remove the rows also. We can keep the rows, means in between the range from which row to the which row. Like that, we can do so many things here. Okay, so many transformations that might be applied here. This is a separate query editor. This is a separate window actually. This is not the actual main application. So in this editor, you are going to apply all these changes, right? You can add any columns here also. If, for example, if you click on add column, click on add column, click on add column, click on custom column, click on custom column, or give any name for your newly added column. I want to give full name. Okay, what I do here is I'm going to create a new column. I'm going to concatenate these two columns. That is first name and last name. I'm going to concatenate this, and I am going to form a new column. Okay, with these two names. For that, the command you can write here is after the equal to first name, which is concatenated with the last name. Just copy this, go there, paste here. Okay, this is going to concatenate. Click on OK. A new column was added with a name, right? With the first name and the last name, which was concatenated and forms a new column, which gives a complete name of a person. Like this, we can add, we can filter, like this, so many things we can do it. Okay. Okay. Conditional column. For example, there are these are the ages of a person, right? Ages of a person. You can add a conditional column also. Click on add column, add condition, column name. You can give any name, age criteria, for example. Okay. Which column, on which column you are going to apply this condition? Age. If age is equals to operator, there are different operators. Is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. For example, if age is than greater than greater than 30, okay. If age is greater than 30, there are no 30, I think. For example, if age is greater than 22, the output will be final year. Okay. Add this class. Else if one more condition also you can give here. Click on the age again. I have given greater than 22. Now I want to give less than or equal to, less than or equal to 22. Then I will give as third year. Is the third year. Okay. Add this class also. Now click on OK. See here, according to the condition that I have given here. So the age, the persons whose age is more than 22 will be displayed as a final year. Who are less than 22 will be displayed as a third years. Okay. So like that, we can customize these columns. We can transform the data also. So to apply these changes, click here. Once you've done all these things, now you have to close this, right? Go to the home button, close and apply. Close and apply. So whatever the changes that I have made, they will be applied here. Is criteria, GPA have changed to CGPA, so on, right? So if you want to visualize this data into a graphical format, if you want to visualize this data, for example, for a student, okay, hmm, select this student ID and the CGPA. Okay, I want to see the CGPA of a student in a graphical format. I can select any any of the options available here, right? Like a pie chart or a bar chart or a line chart, whatever it is, line graph, whatever it is. Okay, according to the according to the columns that I have selected here, the data is going to display. Okay, this is how we are going to generate the reports by using visualization options, right? Now, if I want to see the CGPA with their names who are having the CGPA, see here the first person Sophia has the highest CGPA. Now, when you place here, the actual value will be displayed. Okay, Sophia has the highest CGPA, whereas the last one, Rebecca, has the lowest, that is 2.10. Okay, so like this, like see here. If you see here, there are x-axis. X-axis is full name. Y-axis is average of CGPA. Before it was sum of CGPA. Can change it sum of the CGPA, or you can change it to the average of CGPA also. Okay. One more thing, if you see here, there are some filters. So the maximum average is, see here, this is the maximum average, almost 4. Okay, minimum is 2.10. For example, I want to display the CGPAs who are having CGPA more than 3, who are having an average CGPA more than 3. For that, you can apply the filters also here. So click here. Okay. Select the option is greater than. Greater than. Give the number 3. Okay. Average of CGPA should be 3. Now apply filter. Now you can see the changes in the report bar graph, right? So the minimum is, see here, this is the minimum 3.12. The fine, this is the average one. Okay, like this you can change this x-axis, y-axis names, as well as you can apply the filters also. For example, if I want to give instead of full name here, if I want to give age, if you want to give age, copy here and paste, just drag and drop here on the in the x-axis, right? So here remove the filters what we have given there, so that the complete data will be visible. Okay, now so just to clear this, just just to clear, just click here, that is eraser button, clear filter. Okay, the original data will be displayed. You can change the display type also, different types of graphs that you can generate here. Okay, based upon your requirement, you may select the different options. The same data will be displayed in different formats. Okay, according to your requirement, you can change the visualization styles. Okay, this is how the data set will be connected from the Power BI to the SQL server, and you can transform the data, and also the visualization techniques, and changing the x-axis and y-axis data. Just drag and drop here in this field. So if you want to change the value, if you want to change the field of x-axis or y-axis, or you can apply the filters like this. Okay.